Hi guys, good evening. Welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host Eddie, and in tonight's video I'll be discussing what I thought of the latest fantastic episode of AMC's Fear the Walking Dead. Oh my god, what a great episode. God, this show is getting better and better with each episode, especially this season. Now, before I get into all of that, of course, please be warned this is a spoiler-filled episode review, so if you're not caught up on Fear the Walking Dead by this episode or the past episode, do not keep watching or listening, as I will be going into giant spoilers. So you have been warned. That being said, spoilers starting now. Oh, I loved this episode. I absolutely loved this episode. My new favorite character got his own episode and completely dedicated to him, John Dory. We learned so much about him, and we learned about the nature of his relationship with Laura, or as it was actually Naomi. And we got a glimpse of his life before he hit the road, before he met Morgan. And we learned a little bit about his past as well, about how he is seriously the most gentle soul you would ever encounter, but he is so damn skilled and capable that he has the potential, or he is a full-on badass. Oh, this episode is just so good because it got into a character's backstory, revealed more about them, and it just made us love them even more. I seriously love John so much, and this episode only strengthened that love. And I love seeing how he was like this cowboy living out in this isolated cabin next to the river during the post-apocalypse, kind of like a cowboy living on the frontier trying to just survive day to day, and then he encounters somebody, and then he opens up to them and he develops feelings for her, and they develop a personal relationship, and we learn a little bit more about Naomi. Apparently she's a mother, or she was, and she lost her child. We didn't really get a whole lot of answers regarding that, but I feel like that's part of her story has yet to be revealed. But now we know that she was a mother, and she lost her child at some point, and it could explain why she is so insistent on constantly moving from place to place. I feel like she is trying to outrun the pain, the grief, the loss that she feels for the loss of her child. And by constantly moving from place to place and just living off the land, she is keeping herself and her mind occupied, and she doesn't allow herself to feel sad or feel angry about the loss of her child. At least that's just my theory about it. I mean, that might sound that sounds kind of deep almost when I hear myself say it out loud, but it's just a theory of mine of why she's always moving from place to place. But getting back to John, God, what a great episode. I mean, we saw what his day-to-day routine was. I mean, his alarm clock was a loudmouth singing bass. That is hilarious. He went to his local video store. The town that he was living nearby, they still had VHS tapes to rent. That's hilarious. And you know what? It's not that far from the truth, because I've done some long road trips all over the country, and I drive through these little small towns, and a lot of them still have video rental stores. I'm sure Netflix and Hulu are available to them, but a lot of people still have a lot of those super small isolated towns have video rental stores, and that just made me smile when I saw that in this episode. And John actually checks them out. He reviews them. He writes his review down on that clipboard. And, he plays Scrabble with himself. He fishes for food. He travels by canoe. I mean, this episode just showed us so much of this world that we know and love. And it's just showing us just how it can be so different for everybody. Like, he doesn't really have a car. Well, technically he has a car, but his main mode of transport is by canoe downriver. That's pretty awesome. And then, of course, this episode did what I was hoping we were going to see on this show. I didn't think it would happen so soon, and hopefully it happens again, because it made me smile when it happened. But right as they're fighting off that small herd of walkers and they're closing in on Naomi in the ditch, I thought, oh, he is going to pull out the two guns and he's just going to blow these things to hell. And sure enough, he did. He was just... and it was awesome. It was exactly what I was hoping it to be, and it was, even though it was short but sweet, and I loved it. And what I thought was interesting is that he clearly did not like or enjoy using these guns, even though he was shooting a bunch of dead creatures. He clearly would prefer not to use these guns, and his reason is pretty sound. I mean, we learned that he was a cop, and he was like a Western town frontier reenactor, or like a gun shootist. Like, he was a performer. He was like a Western shootist performer for like a tourist attraction on the weekends. He would perform for people, he would perform for kids, he did gun tricks, and that's why he's such a great shot. That's why he's such an excellent sharpshooter, because he was a professional. Not only was he a cop, but he was like a professional shootist. And I just think that's such a cool backstory, kind of like Ezekiel being a zookeeper before the apocalypse, like how he found and met Shiva. I think that's such a cool backstory. Just like John, not only was he a cop, but he was a part-time Western performer on the weekends. And it's because of his involvement that he stopped the robbery from happening, but he did not like the way he felt after he fatally shot a guy in the leg. Like, the robber bled out and died because of it, and everyone praised John as a hero, but he did not want to be a hero, or he certainly didn't feel that way. And he is such a kind, gentle, decent person that the apocalypse really hasn't soured him yet. And a part of me is kind of hoping that it doesn't. Although it feels like he's getting a little bit closer to the darkness now that he knows that Naomi is dead. Well, supposedly dead. Luciana could have been wrong. I don't think she was lying, but she very, very well could have been misinformed when she told him that. But God, what a great episode. What a great, strong, character-driven episode, especially for John, but like John and Naomi. I mean, it was really heartwarming to see the two of them getting along and fishing together, playing Scrabble together, and then opening up to each other. Although it was really heartbreaking when he found the message of, "I love you too, I'm sorry," in the Scrabble letters. Oh, I was like, ouch. That felt like the worst kind of rejection possible. But something that I noticed about this episode is that both of these characters, in their own way, are both in tremendous pain, emotional pain, obviously. And I think that's what makes them so driven and such great characters. And I think a lot of our characters in this show and on The Walking Dead, a lot of them are driven by emotional or personal pain, but that can especially be applied to John and to Naomi. And I hope we get to explore that a little bit more as the show goes along. But God damn it, this was such a good episode. Highlights would have to be just John's backstory overall, and then him using both guns to mow down that herd of walkers right before Naomi could die. So that was a big highlight for me, and I hope we get to see him use both guns again in the future. Whether he's engaging hostile survivors or he's shooting down a whole herd of walkers, I hope they do it again. So what did you guys think of tonight's episode? Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Expecting more? Expecting less? Please feel free to sound off down below in the comments section. I'd love to hear from everybody. You guys have been doing such a super job of that lately. Please keep up the good work by leaving comments and feedback down below. I love engaging and talking to you guys. You may disagree with one another, of course. We're all entitled to our own opinions, and that's fine. Just please keep it civil and be respectful. Fear the Walking Dead airs new episodes every Sunday night on AMC. Don't miss it. And be sure to subscribe to this channel as we continue to follow along the journey of John, Morgan, and all of these characters in this fantastic new season of this popular zombie spinoff. And be sure to subscribe for other great content as well. All right, guys, have a great rest of the night. Thank you so much for watching. And of course, until next time, may the Force be with you.